As an investor, what is your single biggest fear? For many of us, our biggest fear is losing money. Fear often drives investment decisions, and when it comes to investing, it can be an investor's worst enemy. From my experience, there are three primary ways people lose money in the markets, and all three are largely based on your behavior. Now that's good news because it means that preventing investment losses is largely within your control, not your advisors, not Wall Street, not the president or Congress. The bad news is it can be incredibly difficult to avoid these behaviors. So first, it's important to distinguish between a permanent loss and a temporary decline. A permanent loss means you've lost your money, it's gone and it's not coming back. A temporary decline, on the other hand, is temporary. Your portfolio went down, but if you wait long enough, it might come back. So what are the three ways to experience a permanent loss, since that's what most of us are really concerned about? The first is failing to diversify, or putting too many eggs in one basket. You may own a single stock or a handful of similar stocks, and if that company or companies goes bankrupt, it's not a temporary decline because they're not coming back. You've experienced a permanent loss. So how can you avoid this pitfall? By diversifying. But we must make sure to diversify properly. If your doctor, for example, told you to eat a balanced breakfast and this is what you ate, he'd probably tell you it's not really very balanced. Likewise, sometimes people think that if they hold a lot of stocks or a lot of mutual funds that they have effectively diversified, but that may not necessarily be true if they don't diversify properly across industries or geographically, for example. Now, the second way to lose money in the markets is trying to outguess the markets. Sometimes it can be tempting to think the best way to protect ourselves from a loss is to move our money out of the markets until things settle down, or we may be tempted to think that the volatility today is out of the ordinary, that things are different. And these are very normal and very common responses to what we see and hear going on in the markets, usually from the media. But it's also important to recognize that these are emotional responses. And so the key to minimizing the risk of a permanent loss is to tune out the noise and stay fully invested. Stay focused on your long-term plan. That's 10, 15, 20 years, not 2 or 3 years. And the third way to lose money is excess withdrawal. This means taking too much out too quickly. And one way to minimize this risk is to look at your overall allocation or mixture of stock and bonds and determine a reasonable withdrawal rate that, when accounting for inflation, gives you the greatest chance of success in terms of ensuring your portfolio lasts as long as you need it to. And of course, make sure you don't invest money you're going to need in the short term. Understanding the difference between a temporary decline and a permanent loss can make all the difference in your investing experience, and it can spell the difference between success and potential disappointment down the road.